Hey guys and gals, Nary here from Drakewing Game. As some of you may on Twitter, the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you into the Let's Play episode of Temptation's Ballad. So y'all, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right back into it, shall we? Alarm chain, you are up, and let's go. Alright. Sid snarled and leaped onto the Orca, pinning him down with his knees. Renier gasped for breath as he looked up at the Badger's dark silhouette that towered over him against the bright blue sky. His eyes widened. Oh. That's awesome. Time seemed to slow as he took in the sight of Sid's furious face above him. Aye, I knew you reminded me of someone. It's been a long time since I've seen that face. Ooh. Mel's the beast. What have you done? Realization had barely fluttered through Renier's mind before Sid brought his halberd down upon him. Thunk! The blade planted into the ground inches above his head. Renier blinked. The shrill cry of the festival horn blasted through the air as the crowds went wild. And there we have it, the winner of this year's Firefly Brawl. Loud cheers and applause filled the stadium. Sid stumbled off of Renier's chest and scrambled to find his glasses in the grass. As the two of them collected themselves, Sid shot him a baffled look. Why did you let me win? You could have thrown me off and rolled away easily. Still in a daze, Renier stared at the Badger's face blankly. He looked so different when wearing those goofy glasses. All traces of that feral savagery was gone as Sid pouted at him indignantly. Renier shook his head to clear his thoughts. Nah, mate, I just got distracted. You won this fight fair and square. Interrupted again by the festival announcer's shrill voice. Congratulations to Sir Sid Shrikewood. Please head up to the view tower to claim your winnings. Before you do so, however, do you have any parting words for your adoring crowd? The entirety of the arena filled with jubilant cheers and everyone watched him expectantly. Sid suddenly jumped to his feet. Wait, this is what I was waiting for? I'm sorry, I meant that more of a statement. He made a mad dash toward the audience and grabbed a very surprised Clyde before dragging him to the center of the arena. Hey, man! Hey! Hey, man, what do you think you're doing? Sid unsheathed the lanius and planted it triumphantly into the ground. The masterwork weapon's blue cloth sailed in the wind like a proud flag of victory. At the same time, Sid held Clyde's hand despite his flustered protest and raised it high in the air. Ladies and gentlemen of the Firefly Festival, I humbly thank you all for your support. However, I am but an ordinary adventurer who is unworthy of such praise. I wouldn't have stood a chance if it weren't for this masterwork weapon made by the honored blacksmith Clyde. Clyde's eyes widened into dinner plates. His cheek flushed red as he hid sheepishly behind Sid against the curious crowd. I'm sure you have all seen firsthand the quality and craftsmanship of Sir Bessimer's creations. My good friend is trying to restart his blacksmithing career, so give him a gander at Old Soul's workshop in the Market District if you're interested in quality works. Second, y'all, it is water time. I guarantee you will find no greater blacksmith in the entirety of Axia. The crowd whispered to each other with interest as a small round of applause filled the arena. A few of the nobles in the viewing tower gave both Clyde and Alanius intrigued looks. Sid felt Clyde grip his hand tightly. He glanced over to see the tiger's face overwhelmed with emotion. The blacksmith's shoulders shook as he took in the crowd's approving smiles, tears welling up at the edges of his eyes. For the first time in forever, there was a glimmer of hope in the tiger's voice. Thank you. I don't know what to say. Sid smiled and patted his friend gently on the back. Don't thank me. Cole was the one who set this all up. Clyde blinked in surprise as he wiped the tears from his eyes. Did he now? He always was a sly little brat. Sid grinned. His chest fluttered with warmth and pride alongside the remains of Cole's bardic inspiration like a roaring flame. To be trusted with such an important and personal task. Sid made a mental note to thank the little guy later. The festivities were slowly dying down as Sid and Renier collected their winnings from House Osmia. As agreed, the two of them split the cash prize evenly. Renier had clutched his half of his earnings with glee and quickly ran across the crowd towards a certain crocodile in the distance. I still owe you a drink, lad, the Orca yelled before leaving. Come join us at the bottomless pit of the Rotten Red's Alley tonight if you're free. There should still be plenty of fun and celebrations to go around. Sid had politely declined, though a part of him was at least a little curious about the city's most infamous gay bar. He quietly made his way back to his viewing booth. The instant he stepped inside, Sid was instantly swarmed by his parents and a delighted Artemy. "Sir Sid, absolutely stunning performance out there!" "Oh, look at how much you've grown. Gotta whip up a big dinner tonight to celebrate." Sid's cheeks felt warm as he sheepishly scratched his head. "Thanks, guys." "Oh, sweetheart, I was so worried. Are you hurt at all? Did anyone say anything mean to you while you were out?" Just say the word and I'll give them a firm talking to." "Mom, I'm fine. Speaking of which, what did you do earlier? Oh, by the way, I've got a very special present for you to commemorate your tournament victory today." Sid watched in utter bewilderment as his mother handed him a single, ragged boot. "One boot?" "It's a boot with a lot of sentimental value. I assure you, it took a lot of effort to get my hands on this." "Mom, where's that Coulter guy?" "Suffering, as he should be." Sid squinted between his mother's pleased expression and the single boot in his hand. He uttered a deep, tired sigh. "Mom, you promised that you'd stop polymorphing my boys into household objects." "This little fucker deserves worse." Sid held out the boot with a stern look. "Come on, Mom, change him back." Leah sighed and rubbed her temples. "I just don't understand how you grew to be such a sweet and gentle soul. Isn't there at least a tiny part of you that craves violence? When I was your age, I was beating down hooligans left and right." "Kind of, but Cole and Artemy already beat the guy half to death, so I'm good for now." Artemy perked up and raised her hand for an expectant fist bump. "I'll be happy to perform violence once more should you require it." No violence! Just change the poor guy back before he decides to file a lawsuit or something." "Mom!" Ilya plucked the boot out of Sid's grasp and tossed it carelessly over her shoulder. For a tiny old lady, she had a very strong throwing arm. Sid watched in horror as the Calder boot sailed over their booth, rolling down the street and out of sight. "Polymorph lasts for an hour. We can just leave him there and let him ride it out." "Ugh!" Sid gasped, flabbergasted. There was no stopping his mother once she set her mind on something. "Here, Mom." Second yell. Water time. "Take my 5,000 gold winnings. I'm paying you to never do that again." No, you keep your winnings and share them with your friends. You know that no amount of bribery will stop me from tormenting your bullies." "Mom!" "Not now, dear. Your father and I have to go back to man our cheesy bread stall. We'll see you back at home tonight. Come on, Renee." Sid watched helplessly as his parents fluttered off without listening to a word he said. "Your parents are very sweet." "Terrifying. The word you're looking for is terrifying." "Hey, you cast Dispel Magic, right? Can you go free that Calder guy from his boot prison?" Artemy scratched her chin for a moment before shaking her head. "Polymorph is a 4th level spell, while Dispel Magic is a mere 3rd level. Undoing Mrs. Shrikewood's spell will take great effort on my part." "But you can still do it, right?" "Nope." "No, you can't, or no, you don't want to?" "Yes." Sid buried his face into his hands with a groan. There was no use arguing, he supposed. He scratched his head and held up his big sack of gold coins. "Well, now that business is all finished up, do you want to go get more food or visit more festival game stalls? We've got some time to kill before Cole comes back." "Game stalls sound like an excellent idea. Your valiant efforts in the brawl deserve to be celebrated. And I could use some recreation after my very short joust." Artemy pouted. "It's a shame Cole didn't stay to watch either of our tournaments. I had expected more from our so-called team leader." "What are you smiling about?" Sid chuckled and pressed a hand against his chest. Since the end of the tournament, he had been feeling lighter, like an anxious weight had been taken off his shoulders. Cole's bardic inspiration continued humming within him like a gentle, comforting flame. "Oh, I'm just in a good mood, that's all." "You should really cut Cole some slack. He's always keeping an eye out for us, even if we don't realize it." Artemy let out an amused scoff. "How strange. I constantly feel like we're the ones keeping an eye on him." "It goes both ways, right? It's all part of being a crew." Sid blinked. His fur suddenly stood on end. "Does everything feel like super staticky all of a sudden?" Uh-oh. The air suddenly cracked and split with the earth-shattering sound of a distant explosion. It was as though a massive bolt of lightning had erupted from the sky and struck a part of the city. The ground shook and people scrambled to cover their ears. In the city skyline, a massive cloud of debris and dust billowed from a street several blocks away. It looked almost like a bomb had gone off. The air was thick with the smell of dust and burning smoke. Everyone's heads turned as a distressed messenger scrambled through the arena in the direction of the viewing tower. Through ragged breaths, the messenger shouted as loud as his lungs could handle. Trouble! Trouble in the market district! Everyone's attention fixed curiously on this panicking messenger who was desperately screaming for the festival organizers' aid. Mass of people suddenly fainted out of nowhere. The streets are literally filled with crowds of unconscious folk. And worse yet, there seems to be people fighting. What in the world was that? Artemy, are you okay? He turned towards his companion, who was staring up with horror. That explosion. I recognize that magic. My magic. It was like someone set off a dozen thunder waves at once. Sid's eyes widened. He felt his stomach drop as he took in the sight of the towering smoke in the distance. That's around where Clyde's shop is! Sid suddenly felt his chest grow as Cole's bardic inspiration flickered out and extinguished. He and Artemy exchanged terrified looks before bolting in the direction of Soul's arcane curiosities. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna pause it right here. Well, we're gonna drink some water right here. Okay. 1 hour earlier. Market District, Soul's Arcane Curiosities. Soul, the shopkeeper, poked his head through the front door and squinted. Waves of shoppers and tourists swarmed the streets, passing by his shop without a second glance. What a relief. Unsurprisingly, a dinky old arcane shop wasn't exactly a hot locale during festival season. Soul flipped up the close sign at his storefront before slinking into the back of the shop where no passersby could catch sight of him. That ought to keep people out of my way for a while. This is utterly outrageous. The old man nearly jumped out of his skin as he glared at the grumpy python sunning itself on the counter. Dude, keep it down. The grievances will be heard. Why are we holed up in this dusty shop? There are festivities to attend and food stalls to sample. Soul shot a cautious glance at the storefront before letting out a sigh. Oh. In a flash of white mist, the old shopkeeper's figure melted away to reveal an extremely irritated Cole. Stuff it, Snake. I don't want to listen to you complain for the entire hour that we got to spend babysitting this place. Malice curled up into an indignant ball and rolled his eyes. Ah, yes, your asinine plan where you jump through ridiculous hoops to trick your friends into helping each other. You could have just told them your idea from the get-go and saved yourself the trouble. Cole scowled, but was interrupted by Malice as Malice flipped his head back in a dramatic flourish. Oh, but wise demon. My friends couldn't possibly trust me to make good decisions for their well-being without an ulterior motive. Nay, impersonating and manipulating them is surely the better option. The urge to trap the snake under a bowl again was overwhelming. There were a lot of jars lying around the shop. The thick glass should hold Noodle's incessant babbling for at least a little while. Oh, it was so tempting. The snake shot Cole an annoyed look. Our minds are linked, you fool. Don't you even dare. What? You can't blame the guy for wanting some peace and quiet. Ignore the truth. Cole grumbled and sank down in his chair. I told you already. Nobody trusts me enough to just roll with my ideas. They always think there's a catch. It's easier to just string them along like this. It's worked pretty well so far. Malice frowned. Why do you always believe that people assume the worst of you? It feels like an awfully sad way to live. Cole stiffened. The words stung more than he'd like to admit. His shoulders went rigid as he fumbled for something to retort with. After a beat, the hyena cleared his throat loudly and reached for a nearby jar. You've got about 10 seconds to change the subject. Wait! No jars! They're horrible for my back pain, especially as a snake. The demon slithered off the counter and onto Cole's lap with a thoughtful look. Tell you what, there's something I've been meaning to speak to you about regarding our little demon-host relationship. Cole yawned and unscrewed the jar. If this is another one of your demonic sales pitches, I'm not interested. The python flicked his tongue with excitement. Nay, this pitch is no. Nay, this is no pitch, this my puny mortal. It is an updated terms of service. You only have to agree or sign anything, for I have already given you a small portion of my power free of charge. Consider this a free trial of sorts. Cole sat up incredulously. What the hell did you do? I have considered your feedback on my negotiation skills and have decided on a new tactic. I'll not give you a taste of my powers with no strings attached. Surely this will entice you to a full contract with me in the future. How does this power work exactly? I don't feel any different. Well, after examining you for the past few days, I've concluded that your magical foundation is wacky as all hell. Your body has absolutely zero offensive capabilities. None. But you've also got extraordinary proficiency with sensory spellcasting. Alright guys and gals, I'm going to go ahead and pause it right there. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell. Leave a super thanks. Search if you can, it always helps. Until the next video, I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.